1 month after the arrival of the Carrion fleet, Jack stood on the observation deck of the mothership, looking down at Earth. The blue planet seemed small from here, peaceful in a way he'd never appreciated before. "Beautiful view, isn't it?" Olivia joined him at the window. She had adapted quickly to life aboard the alien vessel, spending most of her time working with Carrion engineers. "Hard to believe we're really up here," Jack replied. "Sometimes I still think I'll wake up in my ranger cabin and find out this was all a dream." The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Vexera entered. The alien commander moved with grace and confidence, fully recovered from the injuries sustained during their battle with the Draviks. Jack had learned much about Vexera in the past weeks, including that the commander was one of the highest-ranking explorers in the Carrion fleet and heir to a position in the Carrion Leadership Council. "The Council has reached a decision," Vexera announced. "Earth will be officially welcomed as a protected ally of the Carrion Empire." Olivia clapped her hands together. "That's wonderful news." "There's more," Vexera continued, 4 amber eyes focused on Jack. "They wish to offer you a personal reward for saving my life and helping establish first contact." Jack shook his head. "I don't need a reward." Seeing all this, he gestured to the stars visible through the massive window. "Is more than enough." Vexera moved closer. "Jack Morgan, twice you saved my life at great risk to your own. By Carrion tradition, I owe you a life debt that can never be repaid, but the Council wishes to try." The alien commander held out a small crystal container glowing with blue light. "This contains genetic enhancement technology. It will strengthen your body, extend your lifespan, and allow you to travel through space without harm." Jack stared at the container, not comprehending. "What exactly are you offering me?" "The stars, Jack," Vexera said simply. "The Carrion Council wishes to appoint you as Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community. You would travel with our exploration fleet, representing your world and helping to establish relations with other civilizations." Jack looked from the container to Vexera, then to Olivia, who seemed just as shocked. "Me? But I'm just a park ranger. Surely there are diplomats, politicians." "None who understand Carrions as you do," Vexera interrupted. "None who have proven their character as you have. Sometimes the best ambassadors are not those trained for the role, but those who embody the finest qualities of their people." Olivia touched Jack's arm. "They're offering you the adventure of a lifetime. The Council has also requested that Olivia Reed join our engineering course, if she wishes," Vexera added. "Her innovative thinking has already impressed our scientists." Olivia's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Yes, absolutely yes." Jack looked back at Earth, his home, the only world he'd ever known. Then he looked out at the stars, countless worlds waiting to be discovered. "What about Earth? What about my life here?" he asked. "Earth will continue to develop relations with us at its own pace," Vexera explained. "The knowledge we share will transform your society over decades, not overnight. As for your personal connections, you may return to visit. The enhancement will give you many years to see how your world changes." Jack took a deep breath and accepted the container. "Then yes, I accept." 1 week later, after the procedure that changed him at the cellular level, Jack stood on the bridge of the Carrion exploration vessel as it prepared to depart Earth's orbit. Beside him stood Vexera, now both friend and mentor. "Our first destination is the Lyran system," Vexera explained. 3 habitable worlds with civilizations that have never encountered humans before. As the ship accelerated away from Earth, Jack watched his home planet grow smaller. What had begun with a simple act of compassion in a dark forest had led to this moment, the beginning of humanity's journey to the stars. "Ready for your new life, Ambassador Morgan?" Vexera asked. Jack smiled, feeling stronger and more alive than ever before. "Ready as I'll ever be." The ship's engines hummed as they approached light speed, and Earth vanished from view. Ahead lay countless stars, new worlds, and adventures Jack could never have imagined. All because he had chosen to help a wounded stranger on a dark night in the forest. Jack didn't remember much about leaving the mining facility. The pain from his wounds and the desperate effort to keep Vexera alive blurred together in a haze. Somehow, Olivia had gotten them back to her workshop, where Jack had once again put his medic skills to work. 3 days had passed since then. Vexera lay on a makeshift bed, breathing steadily but still unconscious. The alien's wounds were severe, worse than when Jack had first found Vexera in the forest. "Any change?" Olivia asked, entering with 2 cups of coffee. Jack shook his head, accepting a cup. "The bleeding stopped, but there's something wrong internally. I don't have the knowledge to help with alien physiology." They sat in silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. The communicator sat on a nearby table, silent since sending its signal days ago. What if no one heard it? Olivia finally asked the question they'd both been avoiding. Jack had no answer. His own wounds were painful but healing. Shallow cuts compared to Vexera's injuries. He felt responsible. The alien warrior had come to Earth by accident, and Jack had involved himself in something far beyond his understanding. A sudden beeping from the communicator made them both jump. The device lit up with symbols Jack couldn't read, but Vexera's eyes snapped open at the sound. "They coming," the alien whispered. The ground beneath them trembled slightly. Car alarms began wailing in the distance. "What's happening?" Olivia rushed to the window and gasped. "Jack, you need to see this." Outside, the morning sky was changing. A massive shadow darkened the town as something enormous moved above the clouds. Suddenly, the clouds parted, revealing a ship, larger than anything Jack could have imagined, its metallic surface reflecting the sunlight in shimmering patterns. "The Carrion Fleet," Vexera said, voice weak but filled with relief. My distress call worked. Smaller craft began descending from the mothership, causing panic in the town. People ran from their homes, some fleeing in cars, others standing frozen in awe. In the distance, Jack could hear sirens and the sound of military helicopters approaching. "This is bad," Jack said. "If they think it's an invasion." "Help me up," Vexera interrupted, struggling to stand. "Must prevent conflict." They supported Vexera between them and made their way outside just as 3 sleek shuttles landed in the town square. Local police had formed a perimeter, officers pointing weapons with shaking hands at the alien craft. "Stop," Jack shouted, helping Vexera forward. "They're friendly. Don't shoot." The lead shuttle opened, revealing aliens similar to Vexera, but wearing more elaborate armor. The apparent leader stepped forward, 4 eyes widening at the sight of Vexera. "Commander Vexera." The alien called out in perfect English. "We received your distress signal." Jack and Olivia exchanged shocked looks. "Commander." Vexera straightened as much as possible between them. "Captain Kellner, secure the area. These humans saved my life. They are under my protection." Within minutes, more carrion ships arrived, creating a defensive perimeter around the town. Military helicopters hovered uncertainly at a distance. Jack realized that a single wrong move could start an interplanetary incident. "We need to talk to whoever's in charge," Jack told the carrion captain. "Before this escalates." Captain Kellner nodded. "Our translator systems are detecting multiple Earth communications channels attempting contact. Their leaders are concerned." "Then let me help," Jack offered. "I can explain what happened." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Jack found himself aboard the carrion shuttle, speaking via video link to stunned military generals and government officials. Vexera was taken to the mothership for medical treatment, while Olivia helped coordinate with local authorities to keep the peace. By evening, the tension had eased somewhat. The initial fear of invasion had given way to cautious diplomatic exchanges. News crews from around the world were arriving, broadcasting images of the massive carrion ships hovering above the small Idaho town. "They want to meet you," a military officer told Jack. "The President and the Joint Chiefs." You've become Earth's de facto first contact specialist. Jack looked up at the magnificent alien ship glowing against the darkening sky. I just helped someone who needed it, he said simply. Anyone would have done the same. The officer gave him a skeptical look. Not everyone. You may have just changed the course of human history. To Jack's surprise, Olivia didn't call the sheriff. After hearing their story and seeing undeniable proof of Vexera's alien nature, she offered her workshop behind the store as a hideout. You need to finish that communicator, she said, examining the half-built device with keen interest. And I can help. Olivia proved to be a mechanical genius. Her fingers moved almost as deftly as Vexera's as they worked together, connecting alien technology with Earth components. Jack kept watch, his ranger training making him alert to any unusual sounds or movements outside. Why are you helping us? Jack asked Olivia during a break. Most people would have run screaming. She shrugged, tucking the strand of red hair behind her ear. I've always believed we weren't alone in the universe. Plus, that thing that attacked us wasn't here for friendly conversation. Vexera joined them. The alien's movements now fluid and strong, a far cry from the injured being Jack had found in the forest. Communicator nearly complete, Vexera said. But energy source too weak. Need more power. Olivia thought for a moment. The old mining facility outside town has industrial generators. We could use those. Jack shook his head. Too risky. The Draviks will be watching public places. No choice, Vexera said firmly. Signal must reach orbit. Draviks will have called for reinforcements by now. They left at dusk, taking Olivia's van loaded with equipment. The abandoned mining facility loomed on a hillside, a skeleton of metal and concrete against the darkening sky. As they approached, Jack felt increasingly uneasy. This feels like a trap, he whispered as they entered the main building. Agreed, Vexera replied, but we must try. They found the generator room and began setting up. Olivia worked on connecting their communicator to the massive diesel generator, while Vexera made final adjustments to the device. Jack kept his pistol ready, though he knew it would do little against the Draviks. Just as they powered up the communicator, a high-pitched whine filled the air. They're here, Vexera said, the alien's 4 eyes scanning the shadows. The first Dravik burst through a doorway, no longer bothering with human disguise. Its true form was terrifying. A 7-foot creature with red scales, multiple eyes, and limbs that moved too quickly to track. 3 more followed behind it. The communicator needs 2 more minutes, Olivia shouted. Jack fired his pistol, forcing one Dravik to take cover. Vexera engaged another in close combat, the alien warrior's training evident in every precise movement. Olivia grabbed a metal pipe and swung it at a third Dravik that came too close. The fight was chaotic and desperate. Jack ducked under a Dravik's swipe and slammed his pistol into its face when bullets proved useless. Vexera fought with incredible skill but was outnumbered. A Dravik caught the alien warrior with a glancing blow that sent Vexera crashing into machinery. Jack, Olivia called. The generator controls. Jack understood instantly. He reached the control panel and pushed every dial to maximum. The generator roared, electricity crackling dangerously through exposed wires. The sudden surge sent the Dravik's electronic weapons haywire. Taking advantage of the confusion, Vexera leaped back into battle, disabling 2 Draviks with precise strikes to vulnerable points Jack couldn't even see. The third creature charged at Jack, who dodged at the last second, causing the Dravik to crash into the overloading generator. The explosion knocked them all off their feet. When Jack's vision cleared, he saw the remaining Dravik looming over Vexera, a blade extended from its arm. Without hesitation, Jack threw himself at the creature, catching it around the waist. They tumbled down a metal staircase, the Dravik's claws raking across Jack's back. Pain seared through him, but he held on, finally letting go only when they crashed through a railing and the Dravik fell into the darkness below. Limping back upstairs, Jack found Olivia bent over Vexera, who lay motionless amid sparking equipment. "Is the communicator working?" Jack asked, pressing his hand against his bleeding side. Olivia nodded, tears in her eyes. "Signal sent, but Vexera is badly hurt." Jack knelt beside his alien friend, whose blue skin had paled to a dull gray. "Not again," he muttered, reaching for his first aid kit. "I'm not losing you now." Dawn broke with the sound of Jack's truck sputtering to life. They had spent the night at the abandoned ranger station, taking turns keeping watch while Vexera worked on the communicator. The device wasn't complete, but they couldn't stay any longer. "They're getting closer," Jack said, throwing their supplies into the truck. He had heard the strange calls throughout the night, each time from a different direction, but always nearer. Vexera nodded, carefully placing the half-finished communicator into a metal box. "Dravik's hunting in pattern, surrounding us." They drove west, avoiding main roads. Jack's ranger knowledge of the backcountry proved valuable as they navigated through forests and mountain passes. By midday, they had crossed into Idaho, putting miles between themselves and their pursuers. "We need better transportation," Jack said as the truck struggled up a steep hill. "And more supplies." "And place to finish communicator," Vexera added. The alien was still working on small components even as they drove, blue fingers manipulating tiny parts with remarkable precision. They stopped in a small town called Silver Creek. Jack went into a convenience store while Vexera remained hidden in the truck. As Jack paid for food and supplies, he overheard two locals talking. "Weirdest thing I ever saw." Guy just stared at me, then asked where the nearest technology center was. Spoke funny too. Probably one of those Silicon Valley types passing through. Jack's skin prickled. He glanced outside to make sure Vexera was still hidden, then casually joined the conversation. "Someone looking for electronics around here." The older man nodded. "Strange fella. Tall, wore sunglasses indoors. Didn't blink enough, if you know what I mean." "Where'd he go?" Jack asked, trying to sound merely curious. Pointed him toward Olivia's repair shop. "Poor girl won't know what to make of him." Jack's heart raced. A Dravik hunter was here, in this small town, and heading toward someone named Olivia. He paid quickly and rushed back to the truck. "We have a problem," he told Vexera. "They're already here, and they're looking for technology." 10 minutes later, they pulled up outside Olivia's Electronics and Repair, a small shop wedged between a diner and a laundromat. Jack grabbed his pistol from under the seat. "Wait here," he told Vexera, but the alien was already getting out. "Cannot. Dravik will sense me. Better to confront together." They approached cautiously. Through the window, Jack could see a tall man in a dark suit speaking to a woman with curly red hair. Even from outside, Jack noticed how stiffly the man moved. "That's not normal," Jack whispered. "Camouflage imperfect," Vexera confirmed. "Human body difficult to mimic." Just then, the woman noticed them through the window. Her eyes widened at the sight of Vexera, whose alien features were partly hidden by a hooded jacket, but still clearly inhuman. The Dravik followed her gaze and turned. "No choice now," Jack said, pushing through the door. The Dravik hunter moved with frightening speed, shoving the woman aside and reaching for something at its belt. Jack fired 2 shots, hitting the creature in the chest. It stumbled back, but didn't fall. "Gun ineffective," Vexera shouted, diving forward with unexpected agility. The alien warrior tackled the Dravik, both crashing into a display of electronics. Jack rushed to the woman, who was pressed against the wall in shock. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, eyes fixed on the 2 aliens fighting in her shop. What the hell is happening? The Dravik's human disguise was failing, its skin rippling to reveal patches of red, scale-like surface underneath. It threw Vexera off and pulled out a device that extended into a wicked-looking weapon. Jack acted on instinct, grabbing a fire extinguisher from the wall and blasting the creature with freezing foam. The Dravik screeched, an inhuman sound that made them all cover their ears, then crashed through the window and fled. "It will return with others," Vexera said, rising shakily. The woman stepped forward, remarkably composed despite everything. "I'm Olivia Reed, and you two have about 30 seconds to explain why there's an alien fight in my shop before I call the sheriff." Jack's old pickup rumbled down the highway, Vexera hidden under blankets in the back seat. The small town of Pine Ridge appeared on the horizon, its few streetlights glowing in the early evening darkness. "Stay down," Jack warned. "We'll get what we need and leave quickly." Inside Roy's hardware, Jack filled his basket with copper wire, small electronic parts, and tools. Roy, the gray-haired owner, raised an eyebrow at Jack's selections. "Building a radio?" Roy asked. "Something like that," Jack replied casually. "Just a project to pass the time." As Jack paid, the small television behind the counter caught his attention. The news showed a reporter standing near a cordoned-off area of forest. Government officials continue to investigate what they're calling a meteorite impact in Blackwood National Forest, the reporter said. Several witnesses reported unusual lights in the sky 5 nights ago. Jack tried to hide his concern as footage showed men in hazmat suits examining the area where Vexera had crashed. "Interesting stuff," Roy commented. "Some folks are saying it wasn't a meteor at all. Billy swears he saw men in black suits at the diner yesterday." Jack forced a laugh. People always wanted to be aliens. Back in the truck, Jack showed Vexera their supplies. "Will this work?" The alien examined the parts. "Basic, but useful. Needs safe place to work. I know an abandoned ranger station about 20 miles from here. No one goes there anymore." As they drove out of town, Jack noticed a black SUV pull onto the road behind them. It kept a steady distance, never falling back or getting closer. "I think we're being followed," Jack said quietly. Vexera's translator device hummed. "Not government. Wrong approach pattern." The alien's 4 eyes narrowed. "Dravix. They found me." Jack's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "How can you tell?" "Too direct. Too obvious. Government would use multiple vehicles, be more subtle." Vexera's voice became urgent. "Dravix hunt alone or in small groups. Very dangerous. Turn here." Jack swerved onto a dirt logging road. The SUV followed. "They look human," Jack said, glancing in his mirror. "Camouflage technology. They appear as dominant species of any world they hunt on." Vexera reached into a hidden pocket in his armor and pulled out a small metallic object. "Drive faster." Jack pressed the gas pedal, the old truck bouncing violently on the rough road. "What is that thing?" "Disruption device. Will disable their vehicle, but must get closer to them." Jack made a split-second decision. He slammed on the brakes, causing the SUV to nearly crash into them. Before the pursuers could react, Jack threw the truck into reverse and backed straight toward them. The SUV swerved to avoid collision. As they passed within feet of each other, Vexera thrust the device out the window. A blue pulse of energy erupted, and the SUV's lights flickered and died. It rolled to a stop. "Go," Vexera commanded. Jack floored it, sending them bouncing down the road. In the mirror, he saw 2 figures exit the disabled vehicle. Even at a distance, something about their movements seemed wrong. Too fluid, too precise to be human. "Will that stop them?" Jack asked. "No, only slows them down. They will track us on foot now." Vexera began assembling parts from their recent purchase. "Must complete communicator before they find us again." At the abandoned ranger station, Jack barricaded the doors while Vexera worked. The alien's fingers moved with incredible precision, weaving wire and connecting components into something that looked nothing like Earth technology. "How long until your people can help us?" Jack asked. "If signal reaches nearest patrol ship, perhaps one day. If not." Vexera didn't finish the sentence. Jack checked his pistol, standard issue for rangers, rarely used except for wildlife emergencies. He doubted it would do much against alien hunters. "Why are these Dravaks so determined to find you?" he asked. Vexera paused, all four eyes focusing on Jack. "Because of who I am. What I know," the alien's translator crackled. "And now, because of you helping me, they will hunt you too." Jack nodded, accepting this new reality. "Then we better make sure the communicator works." Outside, somewhere in the darkness, a strange, high-pitched call echoed through the trees, a sound no Earth creature could make. 3 days passed with Jack caring for his unusual guest. Vexera's recovery was remarkable. Wounds that would take weeks to heal in humans showed significant improvement in just days. Jack changed the bandages on Vexera's chest, noting how the deep gash had already begun to close. "Your healing ability is amazing," he said. Vexera touched the translation device, which worked better now that Jack had helped repair it with spare electronics from his cabin. Carrion biology different. Faster recovery. Still weak, though. The alien's 4 amber eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Jack had learned indicated gratitude. "Why do you help enemy you never met?" Jack wrung out a cloth in a bowl of water. "You're not my enemy. In my job as a medic, I learned that suffering is universal. It doesn't matter where you're from." Vexera seemed to consider this. Unusual thinking. Most species fear the unknown. "Oh, I'm definitely afraid," Jack admitted with a small laugh. "But fear isn't a good reason to let someone die." Later that evening, as they shared a meal, Jack eating canned stew while Vexera consumed a strange blue paste from supplies in a belt pouch, the alien began explaining more about their situation. "I am scout for Carrion Empire. Many star systems, peaceful exploration." Vexera pointed upward. "Was studying your world when attacked by Dravak hunters, old enemies of my people." "And these Dravaks, they might come looking for you?" Jack asked. "Yes. Very dangerous. They will follow my ship's trail. Find crash site." Vexera's voice became urgent. "Need to contact my fleet before Dravaks find us." Jack nodded, his military training kicking in. "We need to get your communication equipment working, then. But first, you need to regain your strength." As days turned into a week, their communication improved. Jack taught Vexera basic English, while the alien shared knowledge about space travel and distant worlds. Jack found himself fascinated by stories of planets with 3 suns, oceans of liquid metal, and civilizations that had mastered technology beyond human imagination. One night, as they sat by the fireplace in Jack's cabin, Vexera revealed more. "My people have watched Earth for decades, curious about humans, so much potential, but so violent to each other. We're complicated," Jack admitted, "but we're trying to be better." Vexera touched Jack's hand with long, 4-fingered blue ones. "You show best of humans. Courage. Compassion." The moment was interrupted by the sound of helicopters passing overhead. Jack peeked through the curtains to see searchlights sweeping the forest. "Government teams," he whispered. "They must have found your crash site." Vexera stood, moving with much more strength than before. "Dangerous. Not just for me. If they find you helped me, your leaders will consider you traitor." Jack hadn't thought about that. He'd been so focused on helping Vexera that he hadn't considered the consequences. "We need to move you somewhere safer, and we need to get your communication device working." Vexera nodded, gathering the pieces of alien technology scattered around the cabin. "I can fix it with right materials. Need specific metals, power source." "There's a town about 40 miles from here," Jack said, already packing essentials into a backpack. "We can get supplies there. I have a friend who owns a hardware store who won't ask questions." As Jack loaded his truck in the darkness, he realized how drastically his life had changed in just 1 week. From solitary park ranger to harboring an alien fugitive, it should have terrified him. Instead, he felt more alive than he had in years. "Ready?" he asked as Vexera ducked into the passenger seat, hidden under a large coat. The alien's 4 eyes glowed softly in the darkness. "Ready?" Jack Morgan. Our journey begins. Jack Morgan rubbed his tired eyes as he drove his ranger truck along the quiet forest road. The night shift was always lonely, but he enjoyed the peace of the woods after dark. 8 years as a military medic in combat zones had left him craving solitude. Now, as a park ranger in the remote forests of northern Montana, he finally found it. A bright flash lit up the sky, followed by a rumble that shook his vehicle. Jack hit the brakes, thinking it was lightning, but the cloudless night sky told him otherwise. Something had crashed in the forest ahead. "Base, this is Ranger Morgan," he said into his radio. "Possible meteor impact in Sector 7. Going to check it out." "Copy that, Jack," came the crackling response. "Be careful out there." Jack grabbed his flashlight and first aid kit, habits from his military days, and headed into the trees. The smell of burnt wood filled the air as he followed a trail of broken branches. After 15 minutes of hiking, he reached a small clearing where something large had carved a deep furrow in the earth. It wasn't a meteor. The object was clearly made of metal, with smooth curves and strange symbols etched into its surface. A spacecraft about the size of a small car now lay broken and smoking in the dirt. Jack's heart raced as he approached. This couldn't be real. A section of the craft had split open, and beside it lay a figure. Jack's flashlight revealed a humanoid being with blue-silver skin and strange armor. The creature was tall, at least 7 feet, but curled up in pain. Dark purple liquid oozed from several wounds. Despite its alien appearance, Jack could see it was badly hurt. Years of treating wounded soldiers took over. This was a patient who needed help. "Hey," Jack said softly, kneeling beside the figure. "I'm not going to hurt you." The alien's eyes snapped open. 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, all glowing amber. It tried to move away, but groaned in pain. "Easy," Jack said, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "You're injured." The alien touched a device on its wrist. A small light projected from it, and a mechanical voice spoke in broken English. "Danger. Coming. Hide me. Please." Jack didn't hesitate. "I'm a medic. I can help you." The alien studied him for a moment, then collapsed back in pain. Jack quickly assessed the wounds. A deep gash across the chest, a broken limb, and what looked like burns. The anatomy was different, but similar enough that he could work with it. Using supplies from his kit, Jack stopped the bleeding and stabilized the fracture. The alien watched him work, occasionally making clicking sounds that might have been words. When Jack finished, he faced a new problem. He couldn't leave the alien here, and he couldn't call this in. Government agencies would swarm the place, and who knew what they'd do to the visitor? "I'm going to take you somewhere safe," Jack told the alien. "My cabin isn't far." Getting the heavy alien into his truck wasn't easy, but Jack managed it. He covered the being with a tarp and drove carefully back to his small ranger cabin, deep in the woods where no one would see them. Inside, Jack cleared his bed and helped the alien onto it. The being touched its wrist device again. "Thank you. Name, Vexera." "I'm Jack," he replied. "Jack Morgan." "Jack," Vexera repeated. "Why help me?" Jack shrugged. "It's what I do. Rest now. You're safe here." As Vexera drifted into unconsciousness, Jack sat in his chair, wondering what he'd gotten himself into. Outside, a shooting star streaked across the sky. Or was it another spacecraft? Either way, Jack knew his life had changed forever.